Hey, good morning. It's Tuesday morning. I'm glad that you've taken some time to get the day started with me and our daily morning reflections. I hope that you've had a good day. Yesterday, we talked about serving, so I hope you found somebody yesterday to serve, and maybe today you can find another person to serve. Imagine what would happen if we all, where we find ourselves in this moment, spend some time serving each other, wherever we find ourselves, be it at home, be it at work, wherever we are right now. If we were to serve each other and show mercy and kindness to each other. Imagine what God could do in our midst if we did that. Today, I mentioned last week I was going to tell you a little bit about how I pick out the text we use each morning for our devotional time. I actually, what I do is I follow the same type of morning devotional I've done for years. When I was in seminary, I had a spiritual director, a gentleman who's an Episcopal priest at a church in Collierville that still serves there to this day. And he helped me and Dr. Nick, who was one of my favorite professors in seminary, really kind of imprinted upon me the importance of regular devotional practices. Those of you who know me know I'm just slightly ADD. I don't really sit still well at all. So you can imagine this quarantine is just going great for me, man. I'm just loving not getting to leave my house. It's just awesome. Um, but within that, um, I've found that my life goes better if I have regular routines and regular patterns. It keeps me on track. And so within that, I follow the same devotional pattern that I've done for. Man, I was in seminary, started in '99. I met Jeff 2001 or so. And so I've been kind of following some of the same devotional patterns for almost 20 years now. And they've been really helpful to me. I read from the Episcopal Book of Common Prayer every morning out of the morning office. It's a suggestion of readings, prayers that I pray, uh, guides to help me pray, suggested prayers, and each morning has suggested scripture readings, a psalm or psalms, an Old Testament lesson, a New Testament lesson, and then a gospel lesson. And so that's what I do for my own personal devotional life every day. And then I also follow that up with a reading from an ancient spiritual text called the Rule of Saint Benedict. I read an edition that was edited by Joan Chittister, who was a great spiritual writer. Chittister broke up the Benedict into different devotion to different sections, and she gives commentary upon it. It's been very helpful to my spiritual life for, like I said, 20 years now. Um, but every day, like I said, there's a psalm, an Old Testament, a New Testament, and a gospel lesson suggested for each morning. And so the way I pick out these passages, I just go through the reading for that day. I'll read it, I'll listen for God's voice, and then I just say, Lord, what would you want me to reflect upon today? What do the people need to hear? And there's some days that's easy. Some days it jumps off the page. Some days I'm like, Lord, I don't really know what you want me to say. And so those days I just start talking, and whatever happens, happens. Those days usually exciting when I don't really have a plan. I just kind of grip it and rip it and see what happens. But like I said, there's some days when I read the readings, I'm like, yeah, that's it, man. I love that. And so one of today's Psalms, and I love the Book of Common Prayer, how it suggests that we read through the Psalms. I know I've shared it with you before, but there's something really important about, I think, reading through and praying through the Psalms. They give us real insight into who we are and who God is. And I would encourage you during this season, where a lot of us are home and reading and doing things like that, find some time to read through the Psalms. I think you'll be blessed as you read through this great book of the Bible. But I want to read to you this morning from Psalm 121, which is one of today's suggested Psalms, and it's one of my absolute favorite Psalms. Some of you that are my age, I'm 43. Remember back in the 90s when Christian music got really popular for the first time. Christian music has been popular for a long time. When contemporary Christian music began to get a lot of airplay, there was a great album CD. Actually, I think I bought the cassette of songs that were written um, kind of inspired by the great devotional text "My Utmost for His Highest," and there was a song on there by Susan Ashton that was basically was Psalm 121 sung to music, and it's one of my favorite songs ever. And so I always, when I read this psalm, I always hear that song in my head when I read it. So I want to read to you this morning from Psalm 121. I lifted my eyes to the hills, from whence does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this day and forevermore. From this time on and forevermore. I love it. Starts off, I lift my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. This was a psalm that the people would sing as they would go up the hill to Holy Mount Zion, the Temple Mount. So they would sing this as they were going up the mountain. They would say, lift my eyes to the hills, from whence does my help come? To the hills means to the temple. I lift my eyes to the hills, from whence does my help come? My help, it comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. So whenever I need help, I lift my eyes to the hills, to the temple, to God's presence. And the one who makes heaven and earth will come and protect me. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. The Lord is your keeper. He is your shade by your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. The Lord is our keeper. This psalm, to me, in many ways, kind of reminds me of the 23rd Psalm, that the Lord is our keeper, the Lord is our protector, the Lord is the one who looks out for us, the Lord is the one who's with us. But I love that notion that He will keep us from all evil. He will keep our life. He will not let our foot be moved. I lift my eyes to the hills. I think it's important sometimes to think about what we look to. I read an article last week that said we should limit in this time the amount of time we spend watching the news. And I think that's interesting. I think we should be well informed. I know I try to read online. I read several newspapers online each morning, and I watch the news. I watch my man Byron on Channel 12 here in Jackson, and I try to stay informed. But also throughout the day, don't try to keep up with it too religiously. I put my headphones on. I'll listen to music. I'll listen to music in the area, station in the area. I listen to some podcasts. I try. I listen to scripture throughout the day. I have a scripture, some scripture recordings I listen to. I try to keep my eyes lifted, because if we keep our eyes focused only on what we see now, we could be consumed with worry or fear or doubt or these type things, and that could really be debilitating. We could become overwhelmed. So we don't want to be blind or unaware or uninformed. But we also need to remember to lift my eyes to the hills, from whence does my help come? My help, it comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Our help comes from the Lord. The Lord is our ultimate salvation, our ultimate keeper, our ultimate protector. The sun shall not smite us by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep us and protect us. He is our safety. I remember I spoke earlier in one of our first morning reflections how for me it was important to always think about the psalm where it talks about how only in the Lord do we sleep in safety. Um, that He is our protector. And so in this time, lift up your eyes to the hills. Lift up your eyes to the Lord, from where your help comes from. Your help comes from the maker of heaven and earth, the one who made all that is, both seen and unseen, the one who is the shade at your right hand, the one who is your guide, the one who has not left you, the one who will not leave you, the one for whom, if you make your bed in hell, so there he'll find you. You are not alone. You're not forgotten. You're not forsaken. You may feel overwhelmed with work responsibilities or financial worries or your children or your children's future or your retirement account, your college account. You may feel overwhelmed with your job prospects. You may feel overwhelmed with unemployment. And by the way, hear me, friends. I want to be very clear. I'm not saying these things are unimportant. I'm not saying these things are unimportant. I'm not saying these things do not matter deeply. They worry me. I'm concerned with all these things as well. Hear me. I text my financial guy every so often and say, hey, just make sure I can retire one day. I get it. But I can't be overwhelmed by it. I can't, because that doesn't prosper me. It doesn't help me. It doesn't allow me to be faithful to Jesus. It allows me to get into a swirl of worry. I can't do that. And my help doesn't come from these things. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. So I'm not saying be unprepared. I'm not saying be uninformed. I'm not saying any of these things, but I'm saying lift up your eyes to the hills. From whence does your help come? Your help it comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And he will not let your foot be moved. He will be the shade by your right hand. He will keep you at night. He does not slumber nor sleep, for he is the Lord your God. Lift up your eyes this morning. Lift up your eyes. I know when I'm discouraged, I always look down. It's hard for me to look up when I'm discouraged. Look up, friends. Look up. Look up to the Lord, who has not left us and will not leave us. He is the shade by our right hand, our protector by night, and he will be with us. So be encouraged. No matter how afraid you may feel, no matter how overwhelmed it may be, no matter what may be plaguing you, be encouraged. The Lord is with you. The Lord is your keeper from this time forth and forevermore. Do not be afraid. Hey guys, I love you. I'm praying for you today. I'm here for you. Message me, call me, text me, reach out to me, whatever I can do to serve you and be there for you and your family in this time. Follow these videos online at stmlive.org or our website. I love you guys. I'm here for you, and I'm praying with you, and I'm praying for you. Be encouraged. You be that encouragement to somebody else today. I'm going to do all I can do to encourage you. You be that encouragement to somebody else. And together, we're going to be the encouragement of Christ to a world in desperate need of it. Love you guys. See you in the morning.